Hello, everyone. Today I will be discussing nonverbal communication with you. We constantly are communicating with one another nonverbally, whether we are aware of it or not. Isn't it crazy that most people never really think about their nonverbal communication, even though it is one of the most used forms of communication? Experts agree that between 70 and 93% of all communication is done nonverbally. The most important aspects of nonverbal communication are facial expression, eye contact, and body language. I have always been fascinated with how we can communicate nonverbally. Just by looking at someone, you usually can tell what they're thinking, especially if you really know that person. Ever since I've been taking this communication class, I've learned so much more about nonverbal communication. Today I'll be discussing with you 3 main points. First, I will discuss how important facial expression is. Second, I will discuss the importance of eye contact. And lastly, I will discuss body language. When we talk to someone, we are usually looking at that person's face. Their facial expressions let us know they are listening and how they feel about what we're saying. Our facial expressions are able to convey emotion without us even saying one word. The human face is very expressive and a great way of communicating. Kendra Cherry states, "The look on a person's face is often the first thing we see, even before we hear what they have to say. You can usually tell how a person is feeling by looking at their face." Facial expressions are also universal and do not change much between cultures. The facial expressions for anger, sadness, fear, and happiness are thought to be very similar throughout the world. I think that's one of the coolest things, that you could go to a whole different country and still be able to somewhat communicate and tell how someone's feeling, even if you don't know their own language. Now that I have talked about facial expression, let's focus on eye contact. Eye contact is such an important part of nonverbal communication. People can tell so many things by the way you look at them. Griffin and Bone say when we make direct eye contact and offer a smile, we tend to signal that we are open to interacting with another. If you see someone not looking at you or frowning, it usually means they don't want to communicate, and you probably won't go up to and speak to them. You can tell also if someone is actively listening to you when they are giving you direct eye contact. If someone's looking down or paying attention to something else, like looking at their phone, you really feel like you're not being listened to, and most likely they aren't listening to you. But if someone's looking at you and giving you direct eye contact, you can tell they're listening. Eye contact is also helpful because it lets you know if the person you are talking to is really interested in what you're saying. Jan Siegel says, eye contact helps engaging with the person's interest and response. People also use eye contact to tell if someone is being truthful. When someone is asked a question and they lie, they tend to not be able to maintain eye contact and shift their eyes frequently. Kendra Cherry also states, normal steady eye contact is often taken as a sign that a person is telling the truth and is trustworthy. When my daughter has done something that she knows she's not supposed to, she usually will not be able to look me in the eye. And that's how I can tell that she did something wrong. I've talked about facial expressions and eye contact, so the last thing I will talk to you about is your body as a whole and body language. Our body posture and movement can communicate to others a great deal. It is very important for you to be aware of your body language and how you are coming across to others you are communicating with. The way you move and carry yourself communicates a wealth of information to the world, Siegel states. Griffin and Bone also state gestures and body movements, whether intentional or unintentional, communicate our thoughts and feelings. Have you ever been in class with someone who's slouched over and maybe playing with their pencil, as opposed to someone sitting straight up and looking at the teacher? The person sitting straight and making direct eye contact usually seems to be listening, as opposed to the person slouching who's not really paying attention. Body language can show a lot about a person. Someone who has their arms crossed may come across as not open to talking to us. as opposed to someone who has their arms resting at their side. You're much more likely to approach someone with their arms resting at their side than opposed to someone with their arms crossed. In conclusion, I've discussed about how important body language is. There are 3 main aspects of body language: facial expressions, eye contact, and body language. The most important aspects of nonverbal communication are those 3 things. Nonverbal communication is one of the most used forms of communication. It is so important to be aware of how we are coming across with our facial expressions, eye contact, and body language. Remember, up to 93% of all communication is done through nonverbal communication. Thank you.